Good evening, everybody. Some more energy. Good evening. Yeah, that's better. Thank you. Yes, so this evening we have this wonderful book, Coaching for Performance by Sir John Whitmore. Now, this book is about the principles and practice of coaching as well as leadership. Now, the reason I picked this book is because this book covers three of my favorite topics, which is coaching, high performance, and leadership. So I thought as a business and leadership coach, it's important for everybody to understand the benefits of coaching, how coaching delivers high performance, and how to be better leaders. You know, I say, when top-notch sports professionals work with coaches, why should it be any different in the corporate world? Take the instance of Gukesh, the recent chess international grandmaster. Now, he was working with a coach, Paddy Upton. Was Paddy a chess champion? No. But Paddy coached Gukesh on mental strength, resilience, and many different aspects, which helped Gukesh to win the title. So the beautiful aspect of coaching is that the principles of coaching can be applied to any kind of activity, and it will have a high impact on raising the performance levels. Now, what really appealed to me about this book was showcasing the impact of coaching, examples of powerful coaching questions, and enabling high performance. So what is coaching? Let's get to the brass tacks. Coaching is not teaching. It's about creating conditions for learning and growing. Coaching is about unlocking people's potential to maximize their own performance levels. Now, if you were to look at ICF, which is International Coaching Federation, which is a US-based organization, it defines coaching as partnering with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional growth. Now, very often, people tend to get confused with mentoring. But mentoring is telling people what you know. And coaching only requires expertise in coaching skills and not really the subject matter. Now, normally, if you were to look, people are always telling, do this, do that, why are you doing this, don't do this, right? We are always used to telling. And he says, by telling, it negates choice. It disempowers you, it limits you, your potential, and it demotivates you. Whereas coaching, on the other hand, does the very opposite. So in a sense, coaching is about laying the foundation for high performance, self-actualization, partnership, collaboration, as well as potential. Coaching is an enabler, and coaching culture creates conditions for high performance. So what are some of the high performance culture attributes? Trust, your inner values, quality, learning, and interdependence. And essentials for a high performance culture are to end the blame game. Because, many times we say, I'm not responsible. It was this person. This happened because of him or her, right? So ending the blame game, getting people to be involved, reducing the stress levels, and increasing personal responsibility. The author talks about the performance curve. He talks about 4 different types of culture. The first being impulsive culture. When there is an impulsive culture, the leader is reactive. There is low performance. And nobody knows who's really responsible for success. When there is a dependent culture, the leader is somebody who's directive. There's low or medium performance. And they think, they are not responsible. It's not me, it's they. That's the attitude they have. Whereas when it's independent culture, the leader is somebody who's empowering. And it's medium to high performance, and people take ownership and say that I am responsible for success or failure. Whereas when it's the interdependent culture, the leader is transformational. There is high performance and everybody together takes ownership and says, we are responsible. So he says high performance leaders have behaviors that support trust, adaptability, and high engagement from the teams. And these teams often exceed the expectations. High performance leadership focuses on creating a safe environment where there are open and honest conversations, and they support a resilient and transparent culture. So, when behaviors like the blame game ceases, interference like fear and self-doubt decrease, that's when this sort of transformation and high performance is enabled. Now, I'd like to share my personal example of what I underwent. When I was a little girl, my parents believed that it was very important for me to learn swimming. And I had enrolled myself for a swimming class. And the swimming coach had actually pushed me into the water, and that created a lot of phobia for me from water. And therefore, I resisted learning swimming for a very long time. Later, I got to know that there was a swimming coach who was teaching swimming, but the difference was he wasn't getting inside the pool. He used to sit outside the pool and teach swimming. I thought that was quite impossible, but I had the courage to go in for it because I felt safe. I said, okay, this coach can't push me sitting outside the pool, right? So that gave me a lot of confidence, and that created my trust. So that's what a coach does, a leadership coach. That's what they do. They are there, guiding you. They're not pushing you into it. They are not forcing things upon you, right? And that makes a lot of difference, creates a lot of psychological safety as well. So that creates a lot of impact, and therefore your performance is also at the peak. Another very beautiful thing the author says is, coaching is emotional intelligence in practice. Coaching is a way of leading and managing, a way of treating people, a way of thinking, a way of being. Transformational coaching is the practice of emotional intelligence. And I think as a coach, I have really benefited. I have learned because, coming from a finance background, I had never paid attention to the importance of emotional intelligence and empathy, and coaching really opened those doors for me. So now I have learned the importance of emotional intelligence, but I'm still evolving and it's work in progress, but it's opened a completely different and important perspective. The author shares about 4 domains of emotional intelligence, which is self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. Now, if you were to look at our parents or our teachers or our bosses, what do? They tell us, do this, do that, right? So we are so used to being told what to do, and therefore that's what we also do to others. We also tell people what to do. While that's a quick and easy way, in cases like this, it's the dictator who's in control. And a dictator upsets or demotivates employees, and employees are probably behaving differently when the dictator is not around. So further, we do not remember something, when people tell us, we're like, yeah, okay, I'll do this, right? So we don't learn much. And the best way to learn is through our experience. Another kind of boss is a persuader who lays down their own ideas and attempts to convince, this is such a great idea. This is the best, right? So that is a persuader. Else, they become a debater. An abdicator kind of a boss is one who gives freedom of choice, but it could be risky for both people. He says, coaching is none of this. It's on a completely different plane. Because the leader listens to the answers for the coaching questions that he asks. And it's non-threatening and supportive. No behavior changes happens when the leader is absent. Normally, many leaders are very busy firefighting and they are struggling to get the job done. They're unable to devote time, and long-term planning is probably missing, and they're not able to grow their people. So coaching is a good solution for cases like this. So when should you use coaching? The author says, when there is a time constraint, When the quality of your result matters, to maximize your learning, to get real commitment for engagement and retention, coaching can be applied also in areas of goal setting, strategic planning, motivating and inspiring people for teamwork, problem solving, performance management, and developing your people. Another interesting thing he says is, many times we all have our internal blocks, and that happens when there is a fear of failure, a lack of self-confidence, when there's self-doubt and self-belief. So the antidote to criticism is curiosity. And as a coach, you're always curious about different things. And a coach is non-judgmental, and there is no blame, and you can learn from your mistakes, because judgment, criticism, and correction, normally people are on the defensive. When somebody tells you, this is not good, you try to justify saying, no, this is good because whatever reasons. So fear of judgment or blame is one of the key inhibitors for collaboration and high performance. High performance comes out of high awareness and responsibility. And these are some aspects that the author has emphasized on. And he also beautifully says, a coach is not a problem solver, not a counselor, not a teacher, not an advisor, not an instructor, nor even an expert. A coach is a sounding board, a facilitator, an awareness raiser, and a supporter. Let me repeat, because this is something important. A coach is not a problem solver, not a teacher, not an advisor, not an instructor, not an expert, but a coach is a sounding board, a facilitator, an awareness raiser, and a supporter. Self-awareness is knowing about what exactly are you experiencing. So instead, imagine if somebody were to ask you, what is the color of the lid of this bottle, right? Instead of telling you that the lid of this bottle is blue, instead, if you ask the person, what is the color of this lid, right? Then they start thinking. So he gives examples on those lines, because you're compelled to see it for yourself. And he says responsibility is crucial for high performance. He gives another nice example of a construction worker called Peter. Now, Peter, tells his person, go and get me the ladder from the shed. Peter goes to the shed, does not see a ladder, so he comes back and he says, there's no ladder. And therefore, the task is not done. Whereas, if the leader had said, we need a ladder, who is willing to go and get it from the shed? Then, one of the workers puts up their hand and volunteers. But what does he do this time? He goes to the shed, he does not find it, but he starts looking elsewhere because he feels responsible and he wants to succeed in the task that's been assigned to him. So importantly, what did the boss do differently here? Was to give him the choice, right? And that's the importance of giving the power of choice. Then he speaks about a very important and interesting aspect, which is powerful questions. Now, in any of the ball sports, it is very important that you look and, notice the ball. So what is the command that's normally given is to say, watch the ball. But do people actually watch the ball? No. Because if many people were do that, we would all have a lot better sports person amongst us. Instead, if you ask powerful questions like, are you watching the ball? Which way is the ball spinning? How far is it from the opponent? How high is it coming? This helps the cause better because it compels the player to watch the ball. So therefore, asking open-ended questions promotes awareness. Just to give you examples. What do you want to achieve? What's stopping you? What's helping you? Who could help you? What else can be done? I'll again give an example of a certain client of mine who's the managing director of a large tech company. And, I asked him one question. What's the kind of leadership legacy that you want to leave behind? And that changed his thinking pattern as well as his behavior towards his team. And that is the importance of powerful questioning, the kind of impact that it can create on people. Another area he touches upon is active listening. He says, hear what is said and what are the feelings that are being conveyed. Intuition is the best guide. Listen to the words and the tone of people. Pay attention to the body language, their energy levels, and any other emotional signals. He talks about the popular GROW model, which I'm sure many of you would have heard for. GROW is an acronym standing for goals, reality, options, and the will or way forward. So he says, what are your goals? What is the reality? What are your options? And what will you do, or what is your way forward? He gives a nice example of giving feedbacks. Now imagine you ask somebody to prepare a report for you. And the report, you're not at all happy about it. So your assistant walks in, gives you this report. You look at it, you get angry. And then you say, you're useless. Or you can say, this report is useless. You're not personalizing, you're saying the report is useless. Or you could say, the content of the report is good, but the presentation is down market. You could say it in a slightly better way to say, how do you feel about this report? But as a coach, what you would say is, what are you most pleased about this report? What can you do differently? And by asking that, you're actually enabling the person to think, to see how else can I make this better. So he talks about the GROW feedback framework, which asks about what has happened, what did you learn from it, and how will you use this in the future. He talks about coaching high-performance teams. He says in the present day and age, it's very difficult to get the best out of the teams because of global mobility, remote working, continuous forming and reforming of the teams, project-based, function-based, matrix-based. People are all different, spread across geographies, and complex business challenges. And he says that's where coaching plays a crucial role in helping and bringing people together and work together. Leaders have two important roles to play. One is to get things done, and second is to develop their people. This is the main role of a leader. So the practical ways of fostering coaching in a team environment, he says, agree on ground rules. Educate communication skills and team dynamics. Agree on common goals. Fourth is to hold team discussions regularly. Fifth is to have support systems in place. And lastly, arrange structured social time together. And two more, common interest outside work and learn a skill together. Team coaching provides the space where learning, adjusting, and real-time development are possible. Now, the most important thing, what is the ROI, the return on investment on coaching? So he says, because of coaching, it helps you for improved performance and productivity, improved career development, improved relationships and engagement. And I can vouch for this because, as people grow in their ladder, there's a lot of ego, a lot of conflicts, stakeholder management. These are very common issues with which some of my clients come to me for coaching. And then you have improved job satisfaction and retention, increased motivation, better use of people as well as knowledge. People are willing to go the extra mile, great agility and adaptability, as well as inducing a high-performance culture. So these are some of the ROIs. And he also talks about the qualities of leadership that are important, which are like values, vision, authenticity, agility, and alignment. Now, this particular sentence, I really liked what he says, and it's so true. He says, performance, learning, and enjoyment are inextricably intertwined. When one of these three are neglected, sooner or later, the other two will also die. So it's your performance, it's your learning, as well as your enjoyment that are important. So to conclude with my thoughts on this book, the examples of the coaching conversations that are shared in the book are very good, and I would urge you to read this to understand about the impact of coaching conversations. I also felt that, they could have elaborated a little more on real-life examples and the impact it has caused, especially on both leadership coaching as well as team coaching. In fact, my experience of coaching a group CFO, he transformed both personally, wherein he brought about a lot of behavioral changes and became a lot more emotionally intelligent. And professionally, earlier he was just confined to the finance function because he said, I'm the CFO, I look at only the finance aspect. But after coaching, the transformation that he brought about was he started involving himself in the strategic aspects of the business. So that was a change. Regarding team coaching, I had, worked with the RPG group, and they wanted to build a high performance culture. And, the outcome was developing best practices, enhanced collaboration, and leveraging on technology. The book also stresses on the importance of working with a coach who's trained or credentialed by recognized bodies. Now, very good insight on the impact of coaching one can get, and how one can get better by using some of these techniques even in our day-to-day thing. And he says it's a great life skill. Now, not much to tell because coaching is not about telling, and therefore from a coaching perspective it also tells you how to get better. And therefore I would urge you to read this book, and enough of telling, go and read it and experience it for yourself, because it would enable you to become a better version of yourself. So that's what I had to share. Now let's listen to the panelists on what they would like to share about the book, what are their perspectives, and I also have some interesting questions to pick their brain on this book. Right? Shaji, so what are your thoughts on the book? Especially considering that Shaji is a voracious reader, I'm really keen to know your thoughts on the book.
So, good evening to all. So, this book, it's like a storytelling, and it depicts the importance of the company. Okay, we all think that a company is as a business; it's just profit making. But the book says it's not. It says that it's an ecosystem where the individuals, the organizations, and societies are connected with the company. Now, you think it over in Indian perspective. Our population as on 2024 is 44 crore, I believe. Okay. So, approximately 64 crores of people working in private companies. The author is not an Indian, so he has stated that it's a company has impact on society. But when it comes to Indian context, more or less 45% of Indian population working in private companies. It means this book mostly meant for country India. See, the second part he talks about leadership with principles. Where, in fact, out of curiosity, I was going through this is the 6th edition. 5th edition, I was going through that, just to know what is the difference between the 5th edition and 6th. In the 5th edition, he talks about leadership, culture, and again, coaching. Here, he has added one more valid point. He stated that a leadership with principles. A leadership without principles, culture is written. It cannot be practiced. So in the 6th edition, if we go in detail, he talks about principles. So until otherwise, if even whatever very good culture, values, everything as an organization, vision statement, everything is written, until you have a principle, it's very difficult to practice. It will go like a boundaries. It will not give you a freedom to you. The third point is covered is inner game equation. The inner game equation, he has depicted the example of sports, where your performance is improving your potentials and minimizing your interference. So here I would like to give a practical example of mine. Okay. Sangeeta has covered all the topics, but however, I would like to cover a few practicals, which I had experienced. Okay. So basically, I am a sports person, and most of these examples are from sports. From my childhood, I'm a football player. I used to play in defender, and my favorite food is right hand side. Left hand side is very minimum I use. Okay. So I used to worry during my childhood days that very frequently every day we used to play matches. So if I try to use my left hand, I may miss the ball. It may go for goal. That is called interference. So I have played probably from my 10th age to probably till degree and PG and right now also. Till my school days, I had such fear. And I didn't use my left foot. And again comes to coaching. When I was in my bachelor degree, where I had a coach, he was pushing me to practice left foot. So through that, I was trying to use that, got it success. So that interference has gone. The fourth one is the author has talking about performance coaching. And the fifth one, he talks about principles and practice of coaching, where he correlate with Maslow's hierarchy of needs and correlating with coaching. The finally he ends up with GROW model. See, the GROW model, G stands for goal, and R stands for reality, and O for options, and W for will. And through this process, the author states that, as I said, the first example, the company is not just a business. It's individuals, groups, and society. So through this approach, he is bringing the benefits to the people, the benefits to the to the company, and some ethical practice also he has inbuilt here. Through that, he is bringing a good output for the planet. So in that way, this books has a storytelling of from top to till delivery of people, planet, and profit.
Great, very nicely stated, capturing the important points, and I love the example of the football that you shared. Thanks, Shaji. Ganesh, thanks. I'm so glad you made it on time. Thank you. And I'd like to hear from you, Ganesh. What do you like about the book, and are there any aspects that you didn't like much about the book?
First of all, thank you for this opportunity and sorry for being late. So I'm coming from Andhra, so you can understand the difficulties in reaching here. Somehow I made it. The question is basically, if you look at this, what is that I don't like is the size of the book. Because you see, it's like it imagines gone back to my 23 years of my professional life is over. The college life, no, you will see this book, operation, research, all these kind of things. It will give you some kind of a difficulty. You will see that old professor and assignments, all these kind of things. That is the most disliking part of it. The positive part of it is coaching. Many of us, including many of us sitting here, last week some guy who came to my cabin and asked, he is like asking a Pankaja Kasturi. It is a medicine for asthmatic prevention. So assign me some coach, I have some problem. So this is the mindset, most of the people, especially, I'm not discounting the engineers, unfortunately, most of the people have a feeling that when you have a coach, 90% of your problem is over. So this is the mindset they carry, like approaching the psychologist or a medicine or something, that sort of a thing. That philosophy we need to change. When I read this book, he was very, very categorically mentioning about coaching. And especially even till I don't know the big nuances of difference between mentoring and coaching. He's telling coaching is nothing but enhancing the potential of an employee by focusing on his performance. This is the first time I am seeing. Many people will say that we have a wonderful methodology in HR. We never follow 9-box grid. Only for appraisal we used to do that. But here he is saying the potential determines the performance of the individual and provide him the right platform to utilize that potential, which will amplify his performance. You look at the title of the book itself. It is basically very, very rare book which talks about coaching linked with performance. There are n number of books talks about coaching as an organizational growth, as an individual kind of a thing. So many people don't remember the coach. P.T. Usha is very famous. But how many of us remember Nambiar who made the successful P.T. Usha? The fundamental philosophy of coaching is described in this book. I don't want to dwell into that. Grow and do deep within. Introspect yourself. In a simple format, what I understood is that it is helping an individual to help himself. It is helping an individual or employee to help himself. He is the person who is the driver. He is the person who is navigating the car. He is the person who is actually going forward. The other person is only like a rear view mirror. He is only providing the vision or the headlight where it actually shows where he needs to go. The steering is still with the individual. That is what the script summary I would like to portray here based on this book.
Beautifully said, Ganesh. Very, very nice. I loved the examples. And in fact, what came to my mind was, many times when people want to lose weight, they feel by signing up in the gym, I'm going to lose weight. Or, just start working with a trainer, but then, eat more and then, eventually say, oh, my weight is not reduced. So you have to take the actions required because the onus is on you. So lovely and very nice summary. And, the grid that you spoke about was also very true. Thanks for sharing that. Shaji, over to you. Now, the common myth about coaching is that, if I need to work with a coach who's a domain expert. Right? That's what normally people think. But in reality, and like how the author also validates, coaching is domain agnostic. So what are your thoughts and what has been your experience on this?
So here, my reply would be, so coaching need not be from the domain expertise. If it is domain expertise, it is called mentoring. A mentor, for example, if I would like to be in future, I would like to become a CHRO. So I will have a mentor who is succeeded in human resource, having vast experience. Yes. But coaching is already said. It's bringing new skill within you and bringing out, for which I may have different skills. So mentoring will give only my HR skills in out. A coaching is something different. Maybe if a mentoring takes place, he will induce whatever he knows or whatever his thought process and some sort of a control mechanism I will have. Even if I have different thought process, he may not agree. Because the days he was 10 years before, the thought process which I produce right now may not be workable in past before 10 years. So he may not agree. So the coach is something different now. It need not be from the domain. But I would suggest the coach should be from the similar background. Like when it comes to a corporate world, we say, a coach from an IT industry, I think, may not coach an employee who is in the manufacturing. Because both the industries, problems, issues, process, all are different. So when it comes to IT, most of the highly professional people. When it comes to manufacturing, a blue-collar jobs. 50 or 60 or 70% of workforce is from blue-collar. So that industry domain, it's very important for coaching. Again, coaching is very, very important for our life. I missed an opportunity when I missed coaching. I missed one opportunity The second opportunity I have used. That's why I'm being here. Okay? The first opportunity I missed. As I said, I am from sports. I used to play football. Okay? During my 12th standard, there was a coach